Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am Vinny. This is Kim, and welcome to Dockside at the Bay.
Hi, everybody.
We are here to talk all about Emmy Award-winning web show, The Bay. I do want to apologize for last week. As you could tell, my voice is still not 100%, so last week was even worse. But last week we did show a rerun of our interview with Gregory Martin, and that was a fantastic episode. So we gave you a treat. But we are back this week to talk about season 7, episode 9. But before we get into that, Kim, how have you been?
Been pretty good. Just battling the cold, but so is everybody else. It feels like every other, winter storm and winter weather events, all of this stuff. So we're all just, weathering through. No pun intended.
You are absolutely correct on that. As we are I called it at the beginning of the winter that this was going to be a very snowy winter, and it has proved out thus far to be that way. As we expect another blizzard or winter storm this coming weekend.
Yep. Everybody stay safe and bundle up, and hopefully if you don't have to go to school or you don't have to go to work, then don't risk it on the roads and stuff like that if it gets really messy where you're at.
Exactly.
Driving in snow is not my favorite pastime.
Well, in the Northeast, I'm used to it, so I don't really give a damn.
Used to it, but I can't honestly say I still get funny about it. I'm kind of happy to take the train and take public transit in Chicago, unless it's stuff standing waiting for a delayed train. That was my idea today. That was a lot of. We were all just kind of huddled together for warmth. It was.
I get that.
Bit of a bonding moment. Felt like penguins.
But you know what? We are here, like I said, to talk all about the Bay. I do want to kind of give a couple of programming notes as we go forward. Coming up tonight, actually, at 7 p.m. Eastern. Today is Thursday, January 22nd. Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I will be making a guest appearance on the EVP show on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search the EVP show. We'll be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern for an NXT New Year's Evil prediction show. So we'll be doing all that, talking all about NXT coming up tonight. Also, coming up this weekend, Saturday night, will be the debut episode of Angela and I, our new show, Pop Culture Time Machine. We'll be talking all about Back to the Future. And then Sunday, this coming Sunday night, will be the debut of Booked Beyond Reality, the brand new show that I'm doing that's going to be hybrid with a roundtable discussion and then the simulated matches on WWE 2K25 based upon fantasy wrestling matches that never took place between people that were from different territories, different eras, different whatever you want to say. And this week's debut episode, the premiere episode, is going to be a match of who would win between George the Animal Steele and Big Bronson Reed. So check that out. A lot more content coming out from Suds and Squared Circle Media over the next few weeks. Outside of that, Kim, what are your first thoughts about today's episode of The Bay?
Oh, goodness. Well, as always, flew by. Felt like it was very, very brief, very quick before I knew it was over. But a lot was, kind of tackled. And we started out with, we have Tamara and Daniel and kind of showing them in their captivity, in their current state. And, even in like a grim situation, I did appreciate they did manage to kind of inflect a little bit of humor, a little bit here and there. Because, Daniel and, Daniel especially, but I mean, with the apples, just kind of, maybe we can use it as a weapon or something like that at the very start of it when they're like, contemplating throwing their food just to try and escape, the clutches of Adam.
Yes.
Or big bad villain that's got them locked away in this tiny little room. And when Tam started kind of freaking out too about the bugs, oh my goodness, that's like my worst nightmare right there. I completely related to her. I would just straight up be like, just shoot me now, please.
but
versus the alternative.
and a lot of those were just psychological. I mean, it's like I don't think there were actually really bugs. It was just feeling creepy for being locked in there.
Just even the thought of it, though, I just can't. I can't deal with it. It's one of my, oof. Yeah, no, that was nightmarish, and then we've also got, them kind of arguing and them kind of, obviously they're both tense and they're both scared and they were kind of taking it out on each other until they finally agreed, like, no, we got to work together. We got to get past this. Mm-hmm. And I know that obviously they're related, but when he said, "Love you, sis," it's like, I forget that, like, that there's that connection there sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it's like we do, like you said, we think of Tamara as kind of the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
She very rarely, up until recently, she hasn't even been thought of as a Garrett, as the
right.
She
really downplayed it with the whole when Sarah was kidnapped and the Garrett fortune was like all, I mean, it was very downplayed, her connection, like with her link to Sarah, her link to Daniel, her link to all of that, because she was Ninja Tam and Action Tam and also, but it's just kind of when they bring it back in, it's like, yes, they are related. And it was good. They did manage to kind of have that moment of, listen, we got to work together. We got to, we can't take this out on each other. That's what they want. But then, of course, they drag Tamara off and leave poor Daniel just in there,
Even before that, as Tamara's going through her, her, I don't want to call it a pity party, but it's more of a reflection on her past and saying how she was dating a serial rapist and then a cop on an ego trip. And then, she finally met this guy that, who's a really good guy. He's going somewhere. He's got a future. And, she says, I just wish that I could change my past. We've all been there. We've all lived with regrets. And you can just feel the emotion from her. Like it was a turning point in her heart.
Yeah, because, her and Evan, I mean, obviously they've got this connection, but it's been so fraught. They've had so many, ever since they got together, it's been fraught with just drama. They haven't had like a moment, aside from like the occasional kind of steamy love scene. It's like they don't get a moment's peace, these two.
No, they don't.
And that's pretty standard for a soap opera couple, but even so, it's just, it feels like, as soon as everything feels like it's going to, be right and everything's like, okay, and things are good and copacetic, then something happens. Then they get torn apart and then she has to either lie to him or it's dragged into some other mess and, must be so frustrating. You just want to I don't know, sit down and watch a movie together and chill.
Yeah, exactly. And, when this all works out, hopefully they do get some time to kind of get in that honeymoon period.
Because they are such a pretty couple. We just need to see them really, being able to be a couple instead of just...
Either that or there will be a triangle between Evan, Drea, and Tamara.
Yes, because we did have some Drea interaction. We got Evan on his laptop trying to do all of his work, trying to work from the hospital, but she brings him food and then brings up their daughter. And we kind of learn a little bit more about with Evan, they were young and he knew he wasn't ready to be a father. So we get a little bit of backstory there with him, which I appreciated, just kind of peppered in.
Exactly. And it's just, I really enjoy now diving deeper into the backstory of a couple of these characters. At least we know Evan's backstory, but even the backstory with Dre and they were together in the past and so on and so forth. It worked out to kind of further that story.
Right, exactly. I mean, they are, fleshing out this, little arc for Evan in the midst of, everything with Tamara. It's, creating a little soapy tension, a little soapy drama. And, obviously, like you said, when Tam comes back from, her captive state, you got to wonder what state Evan's going to be in with Dre and the little girl. So just setting up for more twists, setting up for more drama.
Absolutely. Exactly. And at this point in time, I do want to remind everybody, as you see it scrolling down at the bottom of your screen,
Yes.
that we are running a promotion every month in 2026. If you want to win a Suds and Squirt Circle Media t-shirt, all you have to do is send us a super chat, a super thanks, or a super sticker on YouTube using the little box with a $sign that you see below our screen, and go ahead and support the network. What that does is you're able to support us as we look to provide much better production value and a better experience for all of our viewers out there. And for 2026, every super chat, every time, whether it's $2 or $20, every super chat, super thanks, or super sticker you send us is an entry into a drawing every month that will be held live on Suds News to win a Suds and Squirt Circle Media t-shirt.
And who doesn't want a nice t-shirt?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. So go ahead and support our network and have the opportunity to win a Suds and Squared Circles t-shirt just by supporting our network.
Yeah. Speaking of support, I don't know. We see, we had that sequence that we kind of get into with Tam after she gets released from the little cabin where, she's all basically like, you can't do anything to me. What do you think you can possibly do to me that I haven't already been through? This thug is threatening her, all of this. But when he brings Daniel into the mix and says, well, we can go after him. I mean, that's when you really just see, again, the bond between the two of them. You remember, yeah, they are family. Because Tam, is immediately, her whole stance changes. And she just becomes okay, now you go after him. Well, then I'm going to have to do your bidding. She's really caught between a rock and a hard place once they threaten Daniel, which just, cements the fact that, they are related. And I appreciated them just kind of making that the point for Tamara. She's just like, okay, I'll do what you want. I will cooperate because you can't be calling Daniel every awful name in the book, and B, you can't threaten him in front of me.
Right. Exactly. And it goes to show you that the Garretts will stick together regardless of how distant they've been in the past.
Right.
But you know what? We get to the next part, and it's like I said, we said, it's a really short episode. Tamara does call Evan and gets through to him, and she's asking what the DA knows about the attack. Evan just about slipped up and said, I'm doing Puerto Rico. And she's like, what makes you say that? Almost like I'm twofold. First of all, Tamara should never said, what makes you think I'm in Puerto Rico?
Right.
It's almost like she's playing right into that guy, the thugs.
A little bit.
Plans. And then it's like, Evan's like, oh, well, that was where the play. We don't know anything. On both sides, it's almost like, first of all, if Tamara knows that they know that they're in Puerto Rico, why would she say that in front of the guy?
Ninja Tam was not Ninja Tam in that moment. She was, overwhelmed Tam, which maybe we should make a shirt for that too.
Yeah.
Tam versus, duality of woman.
Exactly.
But no, of course, she's feeling all this pressure. She's scared and just let it slip. It wasn't, and you can tell they're trying to just kind of salvage, the but yeah, that was a grave mistake.
Yeah, it really was, because now the guys know that they've tracked them to Puerto Rico. But at least Evan kind of shut his mouth.
Kind of, yeah. They kind of cover they kind of cover their bases a little bit, but yeah, his cat's still pretty out of the bag at this point.
Yes.
90%.
Exactly. So, it remains to be seen how that's going to go. But, and I'm almost glad that Evan didn't say, well, Pete, RJ, and Caleb have gone down and are teaming up. I'm glad that he didn't say that because Tam could have put that out there as well and said, oh, my cousin is here on the island, and that would raise all kinds of flags.
Yeah. And I mean, another, red flag, you got Evan who's like trying to jump out of bed and then winds up almost like, injuring himself more.
Yeah.
Mr., has to, legal action hero has to, be, just wants to help, but is not it is not in a state to do this. I mean, the man is still recovering from his gunshot wound, for crying out loud. And
Yeah.
Dre and the nurse and everyone just, surrounding him when he falls out of bed and in his efforts to get up, and he's just the man's a mess. Good looking, but a good looking mess, but a mess also.
Well, you know what? He's acting very emotional at this point.
Of course.
He wants to get it done.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't know that Pete, RJ, and Caleb are down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, it's just, and also the fact too that he's still wrestling with the fact that his brother is also dead. That also just happened, and he's still trying to process. There's a lot the poor guy is dealing with and contending with at the moment. But we also had, a moment of Adam being, well, I thought it was going to have a little bit more of a haunting sort of. I mean, I'd be more freaked out than he seemed to be if I was like, had, Red Garrett showing up in ghostly form.
Yeah, but see, Adam and Red are kind of cut from the same cloth.
A little bit. You kind of wish it wasn't the case. You kind of wish that he was like, I don't know, creeped out, maybe like rejecting the whole idea of like this crazy old man, like, haunting him and telling him what to do, but not so much.
I wonder if Red had a relationship with Adam growing up.
It really does kind of lend itself to, think that. I mean, just the way that he talks to him and the way that it's just, I know you can hear me. It's like, how the conversation starts. And, Adam gets up, we get like the gratuitous, shirtless scene. And also, for what it's worth, I don't know if you ever watched Twin Peaks, but I definitely got a Twin Peaks vibe from the red lighting, David Lynch, something about it's just like I was getting just like this creepy sort of, Twin Peaks-ish vibe.
Although I did tell my wife we have to go to the bar and restaurant in Ohio next time we're out there. Although that's a little different.
Yeah, I think it was just because it was a red lighting, the red room, all of this stuff. But anyways, it just, it just added an extra layer, all like the lighting and just the general creepiness of it. You got red lighting, you got Red Garrett. It's just, it was a freaky little scene. But we got some more peppering of backstory for sure.
It definitely gave a very big horror theme to it. Like, when I think of a red lighting, I think, obviously being a WWE fan, I think of Kane, and him coming out, from the very beginning with the red lighting and everything. But yeah, it had a very distinct horror theme to it, as if we're getting into that macabre style of
definitely. Yeah.
Shooting.
Yeah. But we did get a little bit like, like you said, the way that they just kind of pepper in backstory and add some layers and add some. I mean, we did get, well, you're doing what needs to be done more than your mother ever did. We're getting, obviously, like, he's lending his, obviously Red has valid reason to be, but it's almost like Sarah, really, she's this guy's mother. It's like, no.
Yeah.
He is really an evil. It's like there's just a disconnect there because we've never even seen her interact with this Adam, this incarnation of, and for him to say, yeah, your mother more than your mother ever did. It's like, yeah, wait a minute, crap, she is his mother.
Yeah, she really is. And
just thinks back in your brain when he says that.
The opposite of the other brother of Pete. Mm-hmm. But then when he kind of startles awake, we see more of that uncomfortable chemistry between Adam and Belinda as she enters his room to kind of comfort him, but also he's not trusting anybody at this point.
Yeah. I mean, she does pick up the fact that because and also just really before he wakes up from his nightmare sort of fever dream, red glow fever dream, what have you. We have it where there's like the whole game metaphor that they bring in. The game sort of, the creator of the game always gets to choose leveling up. It's like, what? You're treating like this destruction of a family and like this whole like, the video game. You're leveling up in your villainhood. Like what? it was just kind of an odd, but it was interesting. Sort of the creator of the game always gets to choose. And then they reference even the Red Garrett curse, protect the, most important of the curse. It needs to be protected at all costs. And it's just, it was such a odd sort of, but interesting way to just kind of show like their strategy, what they have planned. And you don't really know too much at this point. They just want to cause chaos and cause craziness.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting way that they were phrasing all of that. But yeah, we do get that sort of freaky sequence where he does wake up and she knows that he's been having like bad dreams and nightmares since he was a kid. And, he definitely calls her, like, mother and all of this. And don't call me that. Just an odd dynamic.
Yeah.
Just a weird layer sort of thing. And then you claim to be my loyalist. How can I even trust you? It's like, what is there really? It's just a weird relationship, weird dynamic.
I'm almost wondering because I'm thinking that Red Garrett was killed before both Adam and Pete were born. So Adam could not have had a relationship with Red Garrett.
Right.
So I'm thinking these were the dreams that he was having, and Red was kind of positioning Adam to be the next curse, the next evil ruler of Bay City and take over that Garrett enterprise, so to speak.
Yeah. Wanting him into doing his bidding, or Ghost of Red Garrett, the whole curse thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you think that Pete vanquished everything, but obviously no, it's still going on. It's not great. And yeah, it kind of ends, the episode just kind of ends on that sort of odd note with Adam just he has all of his desperados in place.
Yes.
And no reason for her to stick around, apparently, because Vivian is 100% better after giving birth in a traumatic fashion. She's totally
right. Yeah. But folks, that's pretty much it. That's the entirety of the episode.
Fade to black right after Adam sort of wakes up. So yeah, just on to the next.
And I'm telling you, this story has been phenomenal. I kind of wish the episodes were a little longer, although my voice is thankful that they're not. Hopefully, my voice will be back to normal soon. But for now, this is what I'm doing. But like I said, folks, I want to just say that the storytelling, the pacing of these episodes are fantastic. Yep. They always leave you wanting more.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, binge the Bay is the hashtag for the reason.
And you can now binge season 9 on, I believe it's on the Roku channel. That has been released. And season 10 is still in the daily rotation.
Which I believe Gregory said was his new favorite season.
Yes. Yeah, because he says that every season gets closer to what he wants it to be.
Yes. Well, we're enjoying all of it. As far as I'm concerned, every season so far has been a favorite, or at least had some, favorite moments. So
yes. And Kim and I were both talking that 1 week we are going to sit and watch The Raven, which is Gregory Martin's newest movie that was put out. And
I have disclosed I'm not much of a horror type person. However, in this case, I can do like psychological sort of thriller, a little suspense. I don't know, horror though. When it comes to the blood and the guts and the gore and the jump scare, I get a little squeamish. But
that doesn't bother me so much.
In this case, though, I feel like it's going to be kind of a psychological sort of twisty, dark, crazy thing. So I'm curious to explore it.
I mean, it's based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe, so I mean, it makes sense that it would be a psychological thriller,
and that appeals to the English major.
Yeah,
got to go with that too. But definitely that should be in the works to try and sample some more awesome work from Gregory Martin.
Exactly, and that's what we're I'm not sure when we're going to do it, but we're going to do it soon.
Yep.
because as we get farther along on these Dockside at the Bay and we keep getting closer and closer to the current season, it's going to, get to a point where we're going to have to find more subjects and more interviews as we wait for the newer seasons to become available.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do a deep dive into some of the soaps, some of the vets, some of the soap stars that we love that have made, appearances, things. Maybe we should do a little rewatching of some of their other stuff pre-Bay or something like that.
Yeah, it's something to think about. But
yeah, who knows? Who knows? For now, though, we're still Dockside. We're still doing our thing.
Exactly. And folks, I do want to let you know that, as always, you can go help also support our network by buying our merch. Going to merch.suds-media.com and getting a t-shirt, getting a hoodie, tank top. We've got a ton of merchandise on sale. Merch.suds-media.com.
Maybe get a little dog bandana. Keep your doggo nice and bundled up in the cold. It's a nice big bandana. So, keep your doggo bundled up if you have to take him out for a walk.
And remember, if you do buy either the doggy bandana or the doggy cuddle buddy, all proceeds from those sales go directly to Samantha's friends. So as of right now, I have the bear cuddle buddy with the Suds and Squared Circle Media shirt. But if you buy a doggy cuddle buddy or a doggy bandana, those proceeds go directly to Samantha's friends. That helps with service dogs and the training and rehoming of such for veterans and first responders. We are also planning another podcast-a-thon, possibly in March, and that will also be to support Samantha's friends. So It depends on scheduling. We're working things out now. But yeah, we're looking to have another one because the last one in November got cut short because of some idiot drunk driver.
Yeah, but it would be fun to bring the old gang back together and support a good cause and just have some punch drunk fun at the 11th hour when we're all just kind of babbling and getting a chat with people at the same time. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. But folks, we are out of time. We've talked about everything today. Very short episode for a very short episode.
Yes.
But anyways, so Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I'm Misfit8690 on Twitter. Also, a little Misfit 52 on YouTube as well as on Instagram. So feel free to hit me up there to chat soaps or whatever else strikes your fancy.
All right. And for me, you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. You can find the network on Twitter at Suds Media, which is what I normally use. Anyways, by the way, folks, I do want to put this out there and make mention of it. At Suds Media, our network account will always remain politics free because politics are something personal for everybody. If you follow our personal pages and we post about politics, whatever the case may be, that's our personal feelings. That has nothing to do with the network. The network will always remain politics free unless we're complaining about General Hospital being preempted by, a news brief that we have to be on. But regardless of that fact, it will always remain politics free. You can also follow us on Facebook at Suds and Squared Circle Media. On Instagram and Threads, it's at Suds and Squared Circle. On TikTok, we are at Suds_media. I've been doing a lot more on TikTok and looking to go and do a lot more lives. So you can support us that way as well. TikTok.com/@Suds_media. And you can also watch this episode on Twitch. Twitch.com/Suds_media as well. And Book Beyond Reality will be on Twitch every single week as well, seeing it has to do with video games. So, as you can hear, my voice is getting worse towards the end of the episode. I have to keep it moist or else it'll literally turn into more of a Godfather type style, and I have no offer that you can't refuse. So, with that said, for Kim, I'm Vinny. We will see you next week as we go Dockside at the Bay. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.